Do you feel the vibes?
Good afternoon everybody, and a very warm welcome to Ringwood South on this Boxing Day. I'm a little bit light on things to do, so I thought I'd put up this video and show you the actual progress on Ringwood South, because the last number of videos I've been putting up have sort of been in a roundabout sort of way to do with Ringwood South, but hasn't actually been to do with the actual layout itself. So I thought I'd sort of give you a bit of a tour on my idea and thinking about the layout itself and how it's going to be. So I'm just going to take you over to the layout and explain to you what it's all about. So in front of you is Ringwood South as it stands, and I'll delve into it a bit more as we go along, but this is kind of an overall view of things. I'd be standing on this side, which is the left hand side, viewing the viewing public, and anyone coming over would view it from this side. So it's based on the layout I was helping on at Sandy Lane, and I'll show you that video shortly to show you some of the similarities. It's very similar to that because I had some great fun with it, but there are differences, and I'm just sort of using that loosely as a track plan and basing this layout on that, but my own take on it, and just adjusting some of the layout and the track plan to suit me. So this is by no means set in stone. So if we start at this end, this will be the turntable end. As you can see, I've marked it out. I haven't cut it out or anything, so it's not in the baseboard. And I've just put 4 tracks here, but it could be more, it could be less. I want to get some steam sheds, hopefully 2, just sitting parallel next to each other. But again, that's just based on the buildings to see how it will all fit. This is basically going to be the station area with a run round loop. So you can have a steam train and 3 coaches, or you can have a 4TC with a 33 on the front, or you can have like a 4-car unit on it as well. So basically you've got this option of using this crossover point to run around and get back to the front of the queue and take it straight back out. So basically the main entrance to the layout is this back one, this back lane here. I might stick another point in there, so I've just got like a 2 fiddle yard, but to be honest with you, there's some storage. So if we start from this end, I guess, if a train comes in, you can come into the station and you can either run round it, back onto that and go straight back out, or then you start having this point here, which will be the main sort of sidings, and if you follow this line all the way down, this will be the main head shunt down this end. Now on Sandy Lane, this was supposed to be the 2 engine sheds, the 2 engine sheds lines, and basically the engine sheds the steam engines would be sort of worked upon and fueled and watered on these 2 here. But I'm kind of thinking that these 2 are going to possibly be just for storage lines, as in terminating trains. So if you have a 4-car unit, you can have them parked on either this one or that one, and basically the 4TC with the 33 will just about fit on both those outer lines. So then I was kind of thinking that maybe where these 4 coaches are, my test sort of coaches are, because they're slightly shorter, I might use this for the steam sort of filling of water and coal. But if I can fit that in over at the other end with the actual steam sheds itself, then I might use this for fuel as a fueling point. So that's not exactly set in stone. This is just a kind of rough track plan that I'm sort of playing around with. As you can see, that's what that point there. That's the main line down the back, and that first point is what feeds these three lines here. If you move on to the next one down, and this one here, there is that option there. So I've just stuck that there for now, that point there. But I'm not sure if I'm going to use it as a one car or whether I'll stick another point in there for two sidings. I'm not sure yet. So if you go down to the main head shunt, and then you can kind of then backtrack. So again, on here on this freeway point, I'm not sure if that's just going to be a single siding, whether I'll split that again. But I don't want it to be too much track on the layout, so I'm not sure yet. On these two lines here, basically they're going to be a diesel depot. So there'll be a couple of buildings there to break up the track, so it's not going to be just flat track. On here, on the other two, which are these two here, what's going to happen here is they'll take a 3-coach train, and they'll be also used to do run rounds and split the trains up and make trains up, so you don't have to go through the actual diesel depot, which on Sandy Lane you had to, and when you wanted to make trains up sometimes you'd have to go through the diesel depot to get around, so I didn't really want to do that. So I just wanted the diesel depot to be left as a diesel depot, and then I can use these two lines as a run round. So this one's slightly longer, the bottom one, so you can pull them into the bottom one, and then if you need to run around it, you can run around it via this point here, go around it, and then basically either break up the train or make up a train, and then you can pull it out into the head shunt down there, and then take it all the way up either into the station itself or into this plane or into this line here right next to it if it's freight maybe, and then you can take it off the layout through the main one on the end there, which will be the main line out. So I'm just trying to kind of maximise the playability value with this layout and maximise the track. I mean, all this track is absolutely free. There's no, like I say free, this is all track that's been salvaged from Beringer. I haven't spent any money at all on track or points. As you can see, I've spent money on the board, but I was lucky enough to go to, I don't know if any of you know that Homebase has been taken over by an Australian company. It's now called Bunnings, and basically they were the only place in Basingstoke that do board cutting. So I got them to cut the board for me instead of buying individual boards, which would be a lot more expensive. I just got one big sheet of 8x4 and asked them to cut it down into the sections that I needed. So the centre of the board is relatively simple. There isn't a huge amount of point work, but I don't really want to clutter it too much. As you can see, there's space here, so I might put a road in here. So we'll see how that kind of pans out. And like I said, this is all just track laying, initial track laying and initial track planning, and trying to see what will work and what won't work for me, basically. So here we are at my computer, and I've just got it switched on to one of my videos that I did recently. So in case you want to check it out, it's the Sandy Lane layout, and it's a day on the exhibition circuit, and you can search that through my channel if you're interested. And actually it's been one of my more popular videos that I've done. It's had quite a lot of views actually, compared to some of my others. And Ringwood South is loosely based on this, and as you can see, mine has the turntable, but obviously this doesn't have the station, which is what I've added. Also you've got the open stabling point for the steam locos, but I'm planning to possibly cover this up with some steam sheds, also, which is very similar, which is I've got the diesel depot in the middle, which is what I'm going to be doing. But as you can see here, you've got the one line that runs across down the side there, and whereas mine will have two, which will enable me to then run around the trains and break them up and make them up, rather than having to use the actual diesel depot as a run through. So that's something I really didn't want to do. Now as you can see on this side, you've got the shunter here, and you've got some wagons here. Now one of the clever pieces about this layout, which I really enjoyed, was that you could use the shunter to break up the train and park it into the siding. Now the whole train doesn't actually fit in one go, so you have to use the shunter to sort of pick up a wagon, bring it onto the turntable with a shunter, and basically bring each one in individually, or maybe two, depending on how short it was. And I quite like that idea. I found that to be very, very fun indeed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it along. It's on mute, and then I'll pause it as we go along. And so as you can see where that steam train's going, that goes off scene. So that's kind of what I'm doing as well. I'm just following that plan. So I'm basically planning to use this layout as a loose track plan for my own, because I really enjoyed helping out on this layout and I really enjoyed operating it more than I thought I would, to be honest with you. Now that's kind of from the back, so I'm just going to bear with me a minute as I scroll through. Right, so that's the other end of the layout, which let's see if we can. Right, so if we leave it here, that's probably a good view to stop at. So as you can sort of see, we've got the diesel depot in the middle, and then obviously I've also added this kind of diagonal line across here from the back to the front, and then that's my head shunt there. And I'll be using probably where the steam shed is. I may very well either try and incorporate it where the turntable is, or I may move it over this side and use the length on the outside to store some of the DMUs that come off the station. Instead of sending them straight back out, maybe I could park them up, and like I said, put the carriage sidings platform over the far end. So maybe switch that and maybe do something like that. And also this road that runs along the front, I'm hoping to also possibly incorporate that as well. So that's kind of loosely the ideas that I'm having. It isn't, like I said, completely my own, but the thing is, I really did enjoy operating this layout, and I wanted to incorporate some of those ideas onto my own. And by doing that, and also just giving it a slight twist to make it suit me. So that's kind of where we're heading with this layout. Excuse me. And as you can see, there's the diagonal that runs from the back to the front, and that runs off to the head shunt down the end there. And the steam sheds were on that side, so I might, like I said, swap them over to this side instead, or if I can incorporate it somewhere down where the turntable end is, I might even switch it down that way. So basically it's just using Sandy Lane as a bit of a guide, really, because this is 13 feet by 2, which sounds quite big and sounds quite long, but it isn't a huge amount of space. It's more than some, I guess, but you are still limited as into what you can and what you can't do with the space. So it's just trying to get the maximum amount of playability value out of this, and operational value out of this as well, which I think it will work. And like I said, it's this, all the points and all the track work have completely been brought over from Behringer, so I can just literally just mess around with it, and I've still got a whole box full underneath of track that hasn't been used, so I can sort of mess around with it, see how it works, and then tweak it. Like I said, these two exits from the points, I'm not sure, I've added them in, but whether or not they get used or whether they'll get split further, I'm not entirely certain. So there probably will be some more tweaks in the track plan. It's just, I'm just trying to make the most of the stock that I have, as well as the rolling stock that I have. And so maybe if I do incorporate a bit of a yard so I can just store some of these coaches and things like that, then maybe it might be a way of just using some of the stock that I have. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please feel free to comment and subscribe. And I've put the new intro in on this one. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm still kind of working on it. I just wanted to do something a bit different with it. So, I mean, I quite like it, but I think I still might tweak it. And I guess it might be a bit much for some, but I just wanted to do something a bit different. So it might stay like that, it might not. I might revert back. Not sure. So, thanks for watching Ringwood South, and I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.
Do you feel the vibe?